वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की इस्कॉन फाउंडाचार्य विविधि फाउंडाचार्य श्री द होल जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय श्री रूप श्री सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ सी जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ गोस्वामी प्रभुगण की रामाचार्य श्री हरदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की भुवन मंगल श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन के हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र के श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के श्रील प्रभुपाद के ग्रंथ राज श्रीमद् भागवतम के समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद के ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaymudirayet Nashtaprayesu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangolangayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramanandam Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, Text 3. Yarhi vāva, yarhi vāva, mahimni sve, parasmin kāla-māyayoḥ rameta gata-sammohas tyaktvodāste tadobhayam yarhi vāva mahimni sve parasmin kāla-māyayoḥ rameta gata-sammohas tyaktvodāste tadobhayam yarhi vāva mahimni sve parasmin kāla-māyayoḥ rameta gata-sammohas tyaktvodāste tadobhayam yarhi vāva mahimni sve parasmin kāla-māyayoḥ rameta gata-sammohas tyaktvodāste tadobhayam. Yarhi vāva mahimni parasmin kāla-māyayoḥ rameta gata-sammohas tyaktvodāste tadobhayam. Yarhi vāva mahimni parasmin kāla-māyayoḥ rameta gata-sammohas tyaktvodāste tadobhayam. Yarhi vāva mahimni parasmin kāla-māyayoḥ rameta gata-sammohas tyaktvodāste tadobhayam. Matajis. Yarhi vāva mahimni parasmin kāla-māyayoḥ rameta gata-sammohas tyaktvodāste tadobhayam. Yarhi vāva mahimni parasmin kāla-māyayoḥ rameta gata-sammohas tyaktvodāste tadobhayam. Yarhi vāva mahimni parasmin kāla-māyayoḥ rameta gata-sammohas tyaktvodāste tadobhayam. What word meaning? Yarhi, at any time. Vāva, certainly. Mahimni, in the glory. Sway, of himself. Parasmin, in the supreme. Kāla, time. Māyayoḥ, of the material energy. Rameta, enjoys. Gata-sammohaḥ, being freed from the misconception. Tyaktva, giving up. Udāste, in fullness. Tadā, then. Ubhayam, both. The misconception of I and mine. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charunarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. As soon as the living entity becomes situated in his constitutional glory and begins to enjoy the transcendence beyond time and material energy, he at once gives up the two misconceptions of life, I and mine, and thus becomes fully manifested at the pure self. Please repeat after me. As soon as the living entity becomes situated in its constitutional glory and begins to enjoy the transcendence beyond time and material energy, he at once gives up the two misconceptions of life, I and mine, and thus becomes fully manifested at the pure self. The two misconceptions of life, namely I and mine, are verily manifested in two classes of men. In the lower state, the conception of mine is very prominent. And in the higher state, the misconception of I is prominent. In the animal state of life, the misconception of mine is perceivable even in the categories of cats and dogs, who fight with one another with the same misconception of mine. In the lower stage of human life, the same misconception is also prominent in the shape of it is my body, it is my house, it is my family, it is my caste, it is my nation, it is my country, and so on. And in the higher stage of speculative knowledge, the same misconception of mine is transformed into I am, or it's all I am, etc. There are many classes of men comprehending the same misconceptions of I and mine in different colors. But the real significance of I can be realized only when one is situated in the consciousness of I am the eternal servitor of the Lord. This is pure consciousness, and the whole Vedic literatures teach us this conception of life. The misconception of I am the Lord or I am the Supreme is more dangerous than misconception of mine. Although there are sometimes directions in the Vedic literatures to think oneself one with the Lord. That does not mean that one becomes identical with the Lord in every respect. Undoubtedly, there is oneness of the living entity with the Lord in many respects. But ultimately, the living entity is subordinate to the Lord and is constitutionally meant for satisfying the senses of the Lord. The Lord therefore asks the conditioned souls to surrender unto Him. Had the living entity not been subordinate to the supreme will, why would the living entity be asked to surrender? Had the living being been equal in all respects, then why was he put under the influence of Maya? We have already discussed many times that the material energy is controlled by the Lord. The Bhagavad Gita 9:10 confirms this controlling power of the Lord over the material nature. Can a living entity who claims to be as good as the Supreme Being control the material nature? The foolish I would reply that he will do so in the future. Even accepting that in the future one will be as good as a controller of material nature as the Supreme Being, then why is one now under the control of material nature? The Bhagavad Gita says that one can be freed from the control of material nature by surrendering unto the Supreme Lord. But if there is no surrender, then the living entity will never be able to control the material nature. So, one must also give up this misconception of I by practicing the way of devotional service, of firmly being situated in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. A poor man without any employment or occupation may undergo so many troubles in life, but if by chance the same man gets a good service under the government, he at once becomes happy. There is no profit in denying the supremacy of the Lord, who is the controller of all energies, but one should be constitutionally situated in one's own glory, namely, to be situated in the pure consciousness of being the eternal servitor of the Lord. In his conditional life, the living entity is servant of the illusory Maya, and in his liberated state, he is the pure, unqualified servant of the Lord. To become untinged by the modes of material nature is the qualification for entering into the service of the Lord. As long as one is a servant of mental concoctions, one cannot be completely free from the disease of I and mine. The supreme truth is uncontaminated by the illusory energy because he is the controller of that energy. The relative truths are apt to be engrossed in illusory energy. The best purpose is served, however, when one is directly facing the supreme truth, as when one faces the sun. The sun overhead in the sky is full of light, but when sun is not in the visible sky, all is in darkness. Similarly, when one is face to face with the Supreme Lord, he is freed from all illusions, and one who is not so is in the darkness of illusory Maya. Bhagavad Gita 14:26 confirms this as follows. Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati taitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So, the science of bhakti yoga, of worshipping the Lord, glorifying the Lord, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam from the right sources, not from the professional man, but from a person who is Bhagavatam in life, and being always in the association of pure devotees, shall be adopted in earnestness. One should not be misled by misconception of I and the mind. The karmis are found of misconception of mind. The jnanis are found of the conception of I, and both of them are unqualified to be free from bondage of illusory energy. Srimad Bhagavatam and primarily the Bhagavad Gita are both meant for delivering a person from the misconception of I and mine. And Srila Vyasadeva transcribed them for the deliverance of the fallen souls. The living entity has to be situated in the transcendental position where there is no more influence of time nor of the material energy. In conditioned life, the living entity is subjected to the influence of time in the dream of past, present, and future. The mental speculator tries to conquer the influence of time by future speculation of becoming Vasudeva or the Supreme Lord Himself, by means of culturing knowledge and conquering over ego. But the process is not perfect. The perfect process is to accept Lord Vasudeva as the Supreme in everything. And the best perfection in culturing knowledge is to surrender unto Him, because He is the source of everything. Only in that conception can one get rid of the misconception of I and mine. Both Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam confirm it. Srila Vyasadeva has specifically contributed to the illusioned living entities, the science of God, and the process of Bhakti Yoga in his great literature Srimad Bhagavatam, and the conditioned soul should fully take advantage of this great science. Thus ends the translation purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Srinad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada in context of answer by citing the Lord's version from Canto 2, Chapter 9, Text 3. Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadāmayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Me Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratusine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So welcoming all for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Hare Krishna. So it's a great opportunity to be here in Siddham Mayapur and to discuss with all great Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam. Before that I speak anything, I like to beg for the mercy from all the assembled Vaishnavas, the Varishta Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis here, so that I could speak that could be justifiable for this particular purport. So that purport is so extensively already given by Srila Prabhupada. So whatever I speak, that will have some value. All credits goes to our Guru Shishya Parampara, and if there is some faults, kindly forgive me. Hare Krishna. So here, this is the chapter answered by citing Lord's version. And Srila Sukadeva Goswami starts with answering all those questions which were asked by Parikshit Maharaj in the previous chapter. So the first question that was asked by Parikshit Maharaj was how this living entity gets into this material body. O Brahmana, transcendental spirit soul, this spirit soul, every living entity, we all of us, we are transcendental to this material nature. We are different from material body. But how did we come into this body? Is it by accident? Something happened by accident and we come into this body? Or is there some cause? Can you kindly explain this? So, Srila Sukadeva Goswami goes ahead telling that, oh my dear king, this is happening by Atma Maya. Because the living entity which is transcendental to material nature, it's not so easy for him to get embedded into this material nature. It's not easy because living entity is the higher energy of the Lord. We have heard in Srimad Bhagavad Gita that we are better than earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. But still, how we get into this? This is a miracle, isn't it? So Sukadeva Goswami tells, this is not accident. This is done by Krishna only. Sukadeva Goswami says, Atma Maya, it is done by Krishna only. Unless it is done by Krishna's external energy, living entity who is beyond this material nature cannot come into the snare of illusory energy. Atma Maya Mrite Rajan Parasya Anubhavat. Because he is Parasya, he is eternal, he is transcendental, but he feels like I am now this body. Na ghatet artha sambandha. This cannot happen without the influence of external energy of Krishna. How it happens? Swapna drashtur ivanjasa. How in swapna, in the dream, living entity to see himself that he is being chopped up or being chased by tiger. He is seeing it, he himself seeing. So this is how it happens to us here. And in this way what happens, I get into this conception of I and mine, and it becomes bahurupaya. And there is a word called bahurupaya, who takes so many different types of rupa, forms. In the circus, you've seen so many people, so bahurupaya, they say. So, living entity becomes bahurupaya. Bahurupaya vāva bhati māyaya bahurupaya. Bahurup. He takes so many forms, sometimes form of a human being, sometimes form of a male, sometimes form of the female, sometimes form of the tree, some of the dogs, cat, so on and so forth. Maya bahurupaya ramamano guneswasya. And he enjoys what? Gunas. 3 modes of material nature he starts enjoying. He enjoys taking so many forms. Bahurupaya mama ham iti mannate. And he comes into the snare of I and mine. So here we will be discussing mainly this conception of I and mine, how to come out of it. Because it's so very relevant for even devotees, right? Even devotee circle also we come in Krishna consciousness and we start serving Krishna, spiritual master, and sometimes we come into dissension between devotees that, oh, this is mine and this is yours, right? You know, one spiritual master being served, one very famous example, being served by 2 disciples. One leg is served by one disciple, massaged by one disciple, another leg is massaged by another disciple. They started massaging with different oils. Somebody is putting ghee, somebody is putting this oil. And after some time they started telling, hey, my leg is better shining than yours. He said, no, my leg is better shining than yours. Then they started fighting between each other, and then he said, no, I am better than you, like so on. They started fighting. After some time they started beating each other's leg. Then a spiritual master gets up, hey, you people, useless people, what you are doing? You will kill me. So what are you doing? Why you are fighting? I was taking rest. Why did you started beating my leg? So Guru Maharaj, oh, sorry. So you forgot that this leg belongs to me. You come into the snare of I and mine. So generally living entity is into this conception of I and mine. It's not so easy to come out of it. But the solution is given here. So when living entities come into this I and mine, what happens? He starts he starts changing his body. He becomes bahurupaya. Bahurup iva bhati. So we are going to see here Srila Prabhupada himself in first sloka, he tells that how living entities come into I and mine. Because we have always this minute independency. Because of this minute independency, we have two options. Whether myself, I want to become God, or at least a small God, not big one. So I like to enjoy this material world. And second option is that I like to serve Supreme God. So as soon as we get into this, that I want to enjoy this material world, we are into this swapna drashtu ivanjasa. We are immediately put into swapna, dream. What is that dream? Dream of this material life. So we are dreaming actually. We are practically dreaming. This all interactions in this world connected with sense gratification, bodily sense gratification, is a dream only. And Krishna consciousness, we come in Krishna consciousness. Unless we are fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, we are in a dreaming condition only. We are not able to forget ourselves. Other things belong to self, means the body, right? You understand? So sometimes we chant the holy name, so we come out of it. Sometimes we come out of this dream. So it is just like a dream. And dream, our situation is very horrible. We know this story of a businessman, a poor businessman, potted businessman who wanted to build a multi-million business out of pots. He was very poor. So in dream, once he was dreaming that today I will make this business, I will make so many pots like this, and will sell here, sell there, here the cost is more, here cost is less, so I'll sell here in this market, I'll get more price. So like this he was dreaming one day. And if my wife will ask for the share, then I will kick her with my feet. So practically he kicked. And there was only 1-2 pots made, and that was also kept near his leg. So as soon as he kicked, so those 2 pots were also busted. And he got up. He said, oh my God, I was dreaming really. And not even started that entrepreneurship. So this is the condition of living entities when we come into this material world. As soon as we start making empires, and Krishna tells, okay Baba, over, come to this body, come and take mosquito body, over, finish. So this is the condition of living entities. We are just dreaming in this material world. So how to come out of it? The medicine is also given in Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada tells. So condition of illusioned soul is very difficult. It's very, very difficult for him to come out of this I and mine. But the remedy is also given. What is that remedy? Yarhi vāva mahimni se parasmin kāla-māyayoḥ. As soon as he starts enjoying Krishna consciousness, before he was enjoying 3 modes of material nature, and he has to enjoy what? He has to enjoy rameta gata-sammohas. He has to come into his own constitutional glory, that is to become servant of Krishna, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, servant of Krishna. This is his own glory. But forgetting that glory, he considered himself to be like he is that particular body. And in this way, he is suffering so much. So when he starts enjoying this Krishna consciousness beyond kala and illusory energy, kāla-māyayoḥ, then he becomes glorified. Just like, this Kubja, Lord Sri Hari, Krishna, he moved out from Vrindavan, Akrura came and took him. So that very day, he was strolling in the street of Mathura, and he was going from one place. He was having very humble, covered village outfits. So he thought that I'm going to meet with Kansa, so I should have some good clothing, good chandan anointed on my face and all that. So first he met one washerman, right? And washerman was asked by Lord, "Hey washerman, can you give me some of your wonderful, splendorous clothes?" So washerman said, "Oh, how come useless people so important? How could you so important to ask this cloth? This cloth belongs to Kansa. This cloth belongs to Kansa, and if he comes to know that you are asking for his clothes, then what will happen to you, no? You will be killed." So Krishna is thinking this useless fellow, still he didn't rectify himself. In previous life, he told that when Ramachandra, I came, he told that, no, how can I be like Ramachandra? I could accept you as my wife. So the same washerman was there. So Krishna said, this time I am not going to become Maryada Purushottam. This time I have come as Leela Purushottam, so I will do only Leelas. So he just, he didn't had any karate exercise to do this feat. He just touched his neck, and his head was separated from the trunk. And all this, everywhere, they all left. The washermen all left, keeping all the clothes. So Krishna Balramji took up some clothes and he just go ahead. And then there was a tailor. So tailor was given, so can you kindly make it, because this is too huge, this is for the kings and we are small little boys. So please make it for our own size. So he made it very happily. And Lord told, this is your last service for anyone. You have done my service, that's it. For now, for all of your many generations, all the generations will be happy without working, don't worry. Then he proceeds ahead. Then there was Kubja coming. Kubja, she was a not so beautiful lady, but still Lord Krishna sarcastically, he tells that, "Oh, most beautiful lady, where are you going? And what you are having in your hand?" So Kubja tells, "Yeah, this is chandan I am taking for Kansa. Can you kindly give to my elder brother, Balram, and to me also? So we are going to meet with Kansa." So immediately Kubja tells, who could be a better person than you, who could be anointed with this chandan? So immediately she takes chandan and anoints on the lotus face of Krishna and Balramji. And immediately she becomes glorified. So we see, so Krishna puts one leg upon one of the feet of Kubja and gives a jerk. And she becomes straightened up. And she becomes one of the most beautiful girl. And she immediately asking that, "Can you come with me?" So Krishna said, "I'll come later." I'll come later. So we see here Kubja is actually nothing but Mother Earth, who had been deprived of from her beauty. So as soon as Kubja had a great fear, could have, if Kansa comes to know that, no, this my own maid servant, she is serving my own enemy, then she can be killed also. But she didn't care about that. Parasmin kāla-māyayoḥ. So this is very, very important. There could be many challenges in surrendering into Supreme Personality of Godhead for devotees. So unless one forgoes these fears, fear of Kala and fear of Maya, it is very difficult for him to actually get constitutionally situated in his own glory. Glory of being servant of Krishna. So that's what it happened with Bali Maharaj also. We see Bali Maharaj, before he was quite good amount into eye and mind. Well,
Lord Narayana himself comes as Vaman Deva. He tells that, what you are asking only for the 3 steps, you don't know who am I? He tells a very beautiful sloka, it's a very famous one. I just like to recite. Mam vachobi samaradhya lokanam ekam ishwaram. You are coming to me, and who am I? Lokanam ekam ishwaram. I am only one person who is supreme Lord of this whole 3 worlds. And padatranam vrinite. You are asking just 3 steps. You abuddhiman deepdayusham. You are so abuddhiman, you don't have intelligence. You speak so scholarly, but you don't have buddhi. That you would have asked me so much. I can give you whole Jambu Deep. So many 9 islands, one of them I can give you. And you can simply enjoy the life. So then Krishna understood, yes, my dear devotee, you have this I and mine, I'll clear this all out. Don't worry. So he takes up 1 step and whole Bhumandala covered, not Bhuloka, and not this planet Earth. The whole Bhumandala, all the 9 islands in 1 step. Second step, all this, y-axis, till Brahmaloka. And in z-axis, he expands his whole body. And now he asks Bali, where is 3rd step to be put? Still he had a conception of, I have something. And that was, I have this body. Lord, I cannot be untruthful. This is the body that belongs to me. You can put that your lotus feet upon my head, and I will become truthful in this way. So devotees, Krishna always thinks how to take devotees specifically out from this I and mine. And for that one has to be very sincere devotee, right? So it happens with Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj gets the news, then 7 days I will be beaten by this Takshaka and I have to leave the body. Immediately he leaves the whole, everything, all the possessions. Yo dustejan chitisuta sadanartha daran. Dustejan, it's so difficult. People, they get attached with small things in this world. To leave them, it's so very difficult. But Parikshit Maharaj left immediately. Immediately all that Chiti Sutta, he was not just king of a small little planet Earth. He was the king of the whole Bhumandala practically. Yudhishthira Maharaj also. And he just left everything. And he comes near bank of Ganges, and there he's praying to all the rishis, all the munis, that please keep on glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So for the devotees, it's so very easy to give up what is mine. Even for the Mayavadi sannyasis also. Yeah. That's why they say, if they feel frustrated into the material life, just recently I was hearing one news. In Madhya Pradesh, some 3,000 householders, they left their houses and went to Haridwar. They become sannyasis. Why? Because of their wives giving so much trouble to them. So it's so easy. Nowadays it's so difficult now, like the family life also. Because of wives giving so much trouble, 3,000 householder men they left and they took what? This Mayavadi sannyasi ashram. You go to Haridwar, so many of them you will go, you see, they are in the queue, they are going for a bhandara, having prasadam, not prasadam, I don't know what they are taking. So they go. So for even Mayavadi, it's so very easy to give out this, what is called, what is mine. Immediately they can give out. But to give out I, not so easy. Only Krishna's sincere servant can give up this I. So that's for that purpose only Parikshit Maharaj asked in previous chapter. Parikshit Maharaj asking that kathayasva mahabhaga yathaham akhilatmani Krishne nivesa nisangam manastakshe kalevaram. So Srila Sukadeva Goswami being asked by Parikshit Maharaj, kathayasva, he mahabhaga, kathayasva, please speak the glories of Supreme Lord so that I could invest nivesha, I could invest my consciousness in Krishna forever, not to get deterred from his consciousness. So that I could come out from this I. Nisangam manaks takshe kalevaram. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur tells that Parikshit Maharaj is already out of this conception of mind. But only conception has remained with him, that is, he had this body, material body. He thinks that this body belongs to me. And what is the remedy? He also knows it. What it tells? That just by being fully absorbed in Krishna, I will be able to give up this conception of I. So, Parikshit Maharaj knows it very well, and he gives that up. Before Takshaka coming and biting him, he already gave up the body, fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So that's very easy for the devotee. And this is actually the mission of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada tells, so this is the duty, this is the mission of all Krishna conscious devotees, to go village to village, town to town, home to home, and put this injection into the ear of conditioned souls who are actually in this misconception of mine and I. And they have become bahurupaya. To come out, to take them out of this mine and I conception, it's a great duty for Krishna conscious devotees to, of course, hear about Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I speak about Supreme Personality of Godhead in the particular way so that they become Krishna conscious. So that's our responsibility. So I like to stop here. Today we discussed how it is so relevant for even devotees that we should come out from the conception of mine and I. We also discussed what happens if somebody becomes conditioned into this mine and I, he becomes a bahurupaya, and how he comes into this conditioning by Atma Maya, by the supreme powerful, this external energy. By Krishna's power only it happens. And also then we saw that how we can come out of this by investing our consciousness through hearing about Krishna and speaking about Krishna. And we have very wonderful gift given by Srila Prabhupada as Srimad Bhagavatam. And we can just submerge ourselves into hearing and chanting the glories of Supreme Lord Hari. And the life will be successful. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Any comment, any discussion, any question? Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your wonderful...
Srila Prabhupada. Yes. Yes,
my
you could speak like this. You have to eat the mic. Yeah,
okay.
Closer.
So my query is that, when you do puja, fill up the sleeve in Mayapur, we need to write gotra, and our previous gotra could be Kashyap, Bhardwaj, Sandillo, and we come to know that once we get initiated in parampara as a Krishna devotee, practicing Krishna devotee, our gotra changed to Achyuta. So what we should write? We should write both, or we should write Achyuta or the previous gotra, if you have any clarification.
So far I do any puja on any devotee's behalf, then I write. If somebody is initiated, then Achyuta only. I don't know, another senior devotees could also ask that, is there any requirement of writing previous ones? So actually, as soon as we come in disciplic succession, there are two disciplic successions, one is Shukra and one is Vani. So when one gets initiated into Krishna consciousness, he comes into disciplic succession in the line of Vani, not Shukra. So we leave that, the previous one, previous conception, and we take up wholeheartedly the Achyuta Gotra. Yes. Hare Krishna. Microphone. Pramanjan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the nice class. Prabhuji, regarding Kubja, many times I heard from different classes.
Yes. Yeah, I think Vishla is not, I'm not sure about it, but I heard in Prabhupada's Purport somewhere, she like representing Mother Earth, because of torment of so many kings, their atrocities, Mother Earth has become like Virupa. So Lord comes and give him the real Swarupa, making her beautiful. So exactly which particular shloka I cannot tell you now, but from some very much authenticated sources, I can give you maybe personally the differences. Could be Surpanakha, I don't know about it. Could be Surpanakha also. Hare Krishna. Question, okay. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Prabhu, for a really nice class. I have a question about Mother Earth. You rightly said that Mother Earth.
Yes, Mataji, sure. Yeah. I'll repeat the question. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Happy, and there were rains were plentiful, grains were plentiful. Mother cow was giving so much milk that the pasture fields were muddy due to the fatty milk bags of the cow. So when the Lord is pleased, there's so much bounty. But when sinful reactions are so much, Mother Earth is suffering and we are reaping the sinful reactions. So do you have any thoughts about how devotees must conduct themselves to reverse all this?
Thank you, Mataji. The Mataji is asking very nice question that how we could see this Yudhishthira Maharaj when he was reigning, everything was so bountiful, everything was provided. Even rain was also coming at timely. And rain was also only raining in night time, not in the daytime, to make mud everywhere. So everything was perfect in the Yudhishthira's time. So now it is because of living in it. Human beings are committing so many sins, killing cows and all. So everything is topsy-turvy. Tsunami, tornadoes, Aila, and so many things keep coming. So what is the responsibility for devotee? Responsibility for devotee is this only. So we have got Krishna. Krishna has appeared in 5,000 years before in their own personality to rid all these demons out of this planet Earth and to give this ubhayam, fearlessness to Mother Earth. But Krishna also is there still. Krishna is there as Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna is there as holy name. Krishna is Jagannath Swami is there still. So this next for 10,000 years, Jagannath Swami will be here with us. And Nama will also there. Bhagavatam should be there also, must be there with us. So this is what we have to do. We have to, what Srila Prabhupada has done, we have to carry on Prabhupada's legacy to spread the glorification of Supreme Lord Jagannath Swami. We have to spread the most beautiful narrations of the pastimes of Supreme Lord imprinted in Srimad Bhagavatam more and more. That's what we saw today at the end. And also Harinam Sankirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So as these three things progresses more and more, automatically the influence of these negative things will come down, will shut down. So of course we see the cow killing is still there, but we see the consciousness of Krishna and people coming more religious. Actually, we are able to see it better than before, right? So for last 30, 40 years, we are able to see that quite good amount of better consciousness has come up into the society in masses in general. So we are doing our services, and of course Mahaprabhu himself has told it that it will pass it will go from for 5,000 years, for 5,000 years maxima, and after that come down. The Harinam Sankirtan will go up and come down. So we are also part of Mahaprabhu's mission. And of course, everything is destined by Mahaprabhu, so we should not like feel like, oh, everything will be done automatically. We have to do our own part also. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji. Thank you. Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
I and mine is possible only for those who have renounced. I'm finding this very difficult, a common devotee like me. So can you please share some light on this?
Yeah, for renounced people, I mean, physically renounced people like me and all that, for them it's easy in the sense, for mind conception it's become easy, but I conception for them also is very, very difficult. So not even for householders, for everyone, actually, but there is only one way. Krishna ra sansar karo chhari anachar. So the problem with us is that we consider something mine. Everything belongs to Krishna. So that conception has to be aroused, and that can come only by cultivation of Sravanam and Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. That is given by Srila Prabhupada. So more we invest our consciousness into that, farther we will be from this conception of mine and I. So this holds true for everyone, whether one is in a renounced order of life or in the household or in every situation. So this is the perfect way. Supreme Lord Krishna himself becomes captive, kept captive by this Sravanam and Kirtanam. Yudhishthira Maharaj is a householder. Krishna himself comes, all his entourage along with all the wives, he comes to Indraprastha. And he tells Krishna, he tells Yudhishthira Maharaj, the Yudhishthira, I am unconquerable, but you have conquered me. How? By hearing about me always, thinking about me always. You have conquered me. You have controlled your all senses. For those whose senses are not controlled, I am not conquerable. But you have conquered your all senses. And in this way, you are fully absorbed in my consciousness. So this still, I am fully bound by you. So there are so many Mahajanas. We have some Mahajanas in renounced order, some Mahajanas in householders. All they are Mahajanas. Bali Maharaj, we see. Then Brahmaji himself is a householder. Shambhu. Shambhu is a householder. Kapil Muni is obscure renounced. Manu is a householder. So we see some are renounced and some are householders. But the pathway is same, of investing our consciousness in Krishna fully, and in this way coming out of the conception of mine and I. Yes, Mother, hopefully this. Yes, Mother.
Now, I just wanted to add to that point that beginning with our own
Yes. So Prabhuji is also adding to this that specifically for the householders, as Mahaprabhu has also told, Nam Sankirtan Vaishnava Seva is one of the most prominent aspects. It's to come out from this conception of mine and I. We rather don't do to come out from mine and I. We are not like a Mayavadi sannyasi to come out from mine and I. So devotees naturally take up these services for the pleasure of Supreme Lord, and they naturally come out of this conception of mine and I. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for adding to the point. Hare Krishna. So we'll take rest here. Srimad Bhagavatam, Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande.